These results are shocking. In this video, let's take an in-depth look into finding out just how detailed the game is. My name is Nikolai, and this is Joyshift. I like to film and build cool cars in Forza Horizon 5. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you can always be the first one to watch new videos. We're gonna learn a whole lot about cars, we're gonna customize them, we're gonna drive them, and just have a lot of fun with them. Let's go ahead and jump into this video. So I wanna start off this video and show you my R35 GTR. So if you're familiar with how a car is painted, in a spray booth, it is actually going to have a slight texture in it. So the very first thing we're going to look at is actually the reflections in the paint of the car. So as you can see, this game does actually feature ray tracing, which makes the reflections in the car just very beautiful. But something that's super minor that you would really not notice unless you really look for it is you see that texture in the paint right there, that little wavy kind of orange peel texture. That's actually called orange peel, and it happens on real cars. If you go up to your car and if it hasn't been wet sanded smooth, which is basically every car out there, it's going to have a light orange peel texture in it. So it's really cool that they actually mimic that orange peel into the actual paint of the car. So I think it's really interesting because it's not like it's a perfect reflection. They actually go so far into detail that they're actually adding a little bit of texture in there to give it that orange peel effect. Now let's move on to the wheels. So the wheels also have this cool texture to them, and the brake rotors even have like these slots in them, which is really interesting. But check out this texture. So you see that little texture going along the wheel? That is all also orange peel, but it's interesting because it's a slightly different texture than the actual paint. It's a little bit more textured in the wheel, because if you actually look at a real car, usually your wheels will have more orange peel in them than the actual paint, which is super cool. I love that they're going to so much detail that they're actually not using the same texture on the paint and the wheel. You have a different texture on the wheel and a different texture on the paint, because they could have easily just reused the same texture, made it easier on everyone, but no, they decided to make it slightly different. The reflections are actually different also on the wheel, which is super cool that they're going in so much detail that even the wheels and the paint have a different texture, which most people probably won't even notice that. And now the rotors actually have these scuff marks in them. So basically what those are is if we actually press on the brakes, your pads will rub against the rotors, and that's just basically the way a brake system works. That's how the car stops. But it's really cool because in real life, they will scuff into the actual rotor and create those marks. But on here, it's a video game, right? We don't have real physics. This is all made up. So it's kind of cool that they're adding this in there to give it more realism and just make it even more detailed. The next one here is a little bit too realistic in my opinion. I mean, this is getting too far, but at this point it's pretty crazy to see it. So if we actually look at the texture of the person's hand, we can see the skin texture in their hand. Like, that's a little bit crazy how you can see each individual texture in the way the light reflects off of it. It's pretty crazy, but I don't know, it's a little bit too realistic at this point. But let's still check out the orange peel in the paint just to confirm that this is on multiple cars. It's not just the GTR, but look at that. You can actually see, if you pay attention to the way the sun reflects in the paint, you can see the orange peel. And then also look at the trees that are reflecting in the paint. We can definitely see the orange peel there, and especially on the bumper, which is interesting because, for example, usually on cars, their bumpers will have more orange peel. This is mostly just due to the fact that bumpers are typically plastic and then the rest of the body is metal. So usually you'll see more orange peel on the plastic bumpers, and it's kind of crazy how we could see more of the orange peel on the actual plastic bumper, which is kind of crazy. Like, it almost seems unreal. And like, even look at the way the chrome is reflecting on the wheels. We can even see the Rotiform logo. It's crazy. Even each fastener has its own shape, which is pretty awesome. And then going along with that, the lug nuts also are not a circle, for example, because they could be literally anything. But in this game, they actually made them realistic and have the same design that you would see on any other car. And then now let's take a look at all the carbon fiber in the venting. So take a look at how the carbon fiber weave actually reflects off of the light. So it kind of has like this brownish grayish hue to it, which is how real carbon fiber typically is. But if we look really closely into the actual carbon fiber, we can see like there's actual weave in it. Like, we can see lines within the weave. Like, this isn't just a flat piece of carbon fiber. We can actually see how each weave is going in and out of each other. And that's just so crazy, because they could have just put a bunch of squares there and made it look like carbon fiber. But the fact that they actually made it weave in and out of each other is so next level. I mean, it's truly next gen right here. Like, it's really cool to see it. Now, this is my favorite part of this game. So take a look at the amount of scenery going on, the landscaping, the amount of bushes, the amount of grass, the amount of trees. This is truly incredible. And even like the little bit of fog going on, it really adds a cool effect to the game. So if we take a look at just how much, I think that's just like the main main thing here is just how much of this we actually have. So we have so much quantity of actual like leaves and bushes, which if you're playing on like an older console or even just an older game, you typically would not see this. And even the cool thing is if we look at the actual ground, it's not flat. Like it's not like a texture on the ground. There's actual 3D models on the ground. We have these little leaves here. It's really cool. And you know, I love how the light reflects off of the leaves. So it's not just like a flat green. It's actually like some greens are brighter, some are darker, depending on how the lighting is. So when you're playing the game, it's really cool to see all the landscaping that goes on, because even though you aren't paying attention to it, really we're focusing on the car when we play the game, but just seeing all the landscaping in the background really adds a nice realistic feeling to the game. So the final thing we're going to take a look at is the sunsets in this game, and they are just so beautiful, especially with how far away they are. They just look so broad and realistic, and especially the way the shadows cast down onto the mountains that are way back there in the distance that you can see. It just really creates this realistic looking feel. So I mean, it's awesome, because I think the cool thing about Forza Horizon 5 as compared to Horizon 4 is just how much more render distance there is. So I think it's just, you know, down to the actual map design as well. But in any of the previous Horizon games, I think maybe Horizon 1 and 2 definitely had a little bit more of it. But Horizon 3 and 4 seemed to lack a little bit of that render distance, to where you wouldn't really see anything rendered out, because it couldn't really, because the way the map was set up, you would only really see what's immediately in front of you. So I like that with this map, we can actually see so far out. So they definitely took advantage of the Series X and S consoles being able to run this much power through the game. So yes, obviously this game still runs on older consoles, which is pretty cool, but they are optimizing it for the next gen consoles. And if you have an even more powerful PC than the new consoles, that would be super cool to see. But just even on a Xbox, it's so cool to see just how much we can actually see through the sunsets and the way the sky changes. And something to note is that apparently Playground Games said that no sunset is the same, or no weather is really the same in this game. So once you see it once, the next one is not going to be repeated. So it's always going to be something new. I guess it's just generated randomly, like a new sunset. The way it rains in this game, just everything is different in this game every single time. It's never going to be the same. But other than that, if you did enjoy this video and want to see many more just like it, I had a whole lot of fun. I hope you found this informative and entertaining. So definitely do drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Other than that, we'll see you in the next one.